Okay, I know. Hold on. I'm trying to. Oh, shit. Baby, you're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with Ori. Today's Monday, and we're having a little bit of conflict here. I can still hear the background. Um, this is the Food Alchemy Network, and I am your host, Ori, for today. Now, today's subject, guys, give me a second because I just had it here for a minute. Let me just look for it real quick. Today's subject is going to be on how to build a strong support system when you come from a dysfunctional support system, and how do you determine what is what. Okay. Okay, let's begin. Now, as you may all know, people of my age and people who are a little younger, we technically come from dysfunctional people. Whether the father is dysfunctional, whether the mother is dysfunctional, dysfunctionality is I don't know. You can't run away from it. So we have to tend to, or not we have to, we tend to look at things in the way that our parents look at things because that's what we were raised to believe, okay? And we were taught to believe that a dysfunction was really not a dysfunction, that what you felt was a dysfunction was the right thing. It's not until like you go through something devastating where you have to go to therapy that you start to realize how messed up you really are. Because half the time we don't know when we're messed up. Half the time we think that we're okay and we're not okay. So we really have to think about that and think on what is it that we want to do and how is it that we want to achieve the things that we want to achieve. And when do we know when it's dysfunction or when it is not dysfunction? And does this dysfunction is this dysfunction not if this dysfunction is permeated so deep within us that it affects is it affecting our relationships, or is it just affecting us per person? Okay, well, let's begin with the word stupid. Okay, let me begin with that word because in my household, the word in Spanish, estúpido or estúpida, was like a staple. So I kind of like understood that word as if young BF, young, I love your coffee and have to fight my mom. I love you, Ori. Thank you. Um, when I was growing up, the word stupid, estúpida, estúpido, that was like a staple. It got to the point where I actually believed that my last name was stupid. And this came from a woman who was my mom, who at that point didn't even have a high school diploma. You know, she later on, she did go to night school and she got her GED and stuff like that, but it was still stupid. That was the word, or in Spanish, no sea idiota, don't be an idiot, or you never know how to do anything right. um, and they felt that it was okay to chastise us by criticizing us, by calling us names, by, you know, looking down on us as we were imperfect people, you know. And unfortunately, the sad part is that this is the same dynamic that they grew up with their parents. So then they felt that it was the right way to raise their children. And many Hispanic children, yes, many Hispanic children excelled. Many Hispanic children did not excel, and they got involved in drugs and they got crazy. So, with that being said, you know, how do you function in the dysfunctional world? How do you feel that? Um, do you believe that you are so damaged that you cannot live in a non-dysfunctional world? Because no one in life is that damaged where you can't seek help and feel that you're broken or that you're damaged. You're not. You know, that is just something that happens, and that is something that goes down from family to family, generation to generation, and it's a way of them reclaiming obedience. Just like there are some parents that beat their children, and they beat them senseless, and then when they get older they have amnesia. Oh, I never hit you. Of course you did, but you just weren't aware of it. I can honestly say that I was not abused. Physically abused in many other ways, but physically abused, I was never physically abused by my mom. My mom really never hit me, so I really can't say that that was the case. But we're not talking about me, we're talking about things in general, and we're also talking about the dysfunction of what names can do. Now, half the time, the people who call us stupid, I think parents that call us stupid, they kind of like envy us in ways that they see us move forward when they were held back. But they see us moving forward fast and not caring about anything. So we assume, or they assume, um, no, we assume that it is okay. We assume that what they're saying is valid because, you know, they're telling you because they're your parents. Well, I got news for you. Even parents can make really dumb mistakes. And even parents need to check themselves. It's not about us checking them, it's about them checking themselves. Um, Now, one of the things that's very dissatisfying in my eyes is the fact that there are people today, especially I see it a lot in black cultures and Hispanic cultures, where we want to raise our children, and we use a staple as we want to raise them and give them everything that we did not have. But the problem is that although we may give them everything we didn't have, we're still educating them the way that we were educated, with the stupid. It's very far and few the people that have raised their children with a lot of love and caring, and that took the time that said, well, son, explain this to me, or daughter, explain this to me, or you know, my sister, explain this to me. What's going on? What is it that you really want? People don't do that. It's very rare that people do that. So the far and few of the people that do it, hallelujah, because you know what? It's very good. It's very good. Um, it's a very good way, and ethically it's amazing. Okay, you will have very good results that way because you teach your child to communicate rather than to be afraid of you. Although some people feel that being afraid is a good way to condition, when in reality it is not. Putting fear into a child and having a child fear you is what creates a double standard of a child going to church and having the same mentality or having the same issue brought unto them by the churches, by the nuns, by the preachers, by the ministers, by the deacons, by your parents, that if this is not the way that, then you are committing a sin. So therefore, it's the same old thing. Thinking to help my daughter. Well, in the case of your daughter, you did the right thing in raising your child, just like you did with your son. And sometimes mothers go out of their way to try to do everything the right way. And then the biggest thing that happens in these things is that, sometimes in trying to do the right thing with the child, you get so caught up in also taking care of the parent, the father, or, the man of the house, and you add them in. Okay, so when you really look at it, you're not taking care of one child or two child, you're taking care of three children, because men, no matter what, depend on the women to give them attention. And sometimes they want a little bit too much attention. And you cannot change who you are. That's the most important thing that I always tell everybody. Do not change who you are to please anybody. Okay, so I would say 80% of the time or 87% of the time, women change who they are to please their mates. And down the line, their mates end up screwing them over, and then they lose a lot more. So that they already are feeling the energy from when you were a child to where you were a teenager, and then you kept believing that that was the way to be. But then when you had an epiphany, you realize, oh no, I don't have to be this way. Like we're taught to believe that when we get old, then when our parents get old, that it is our responsibility to take care of our parents until to the day they die. Well, some people only want to take care of them and keep them in the house, but me as a person, I won't do that. I don't think that that would be something that I would do, because at the end of the day, I don't even like wiping my own butt. Okay, I like bidets. So at the end of the day, why would I do that to myself when I know that I'm alone, I'm single, and I don't have any children or anything? This is a lifestyle that I chose. So if I chose it to be this way, why would I bring somebody else in? Now, did I grow up in a dysfunctional family? I did. I mean, the one thing that my mom never really said anything about really bad to us was about, drugs. My mom knew who we were. She knew the type of people we were. So my mom didn't really worry about that. My brother wanted to smoke weed. She was like, you have your room. I'd rather you do it in your room and then you do it outside. And what happens with that? After that, what happens is we lose interest. And what's the fun in getting high when you're not hiding? So why even bother to do it? So at the end of the day, that partying and stuff like that ended with me at a very young age, but ended with my brother, unfortunately, at a later age. And it was just weed and drinking. Okay. Now, we cannot blame addictions on ourselves, because addictions are also part of dysfunction. And it might not be an actual dysfunction where you are pushed to drink, but it is a dysfunction that you're born with, and unfortunately, it is hereditary through the bloodstream. It is hereditary through the DNA. So most people who come from drunks or drugs and stuff like that should be careful. Okay, I come from a dysfunctional family. My mother's side are alcoholics and a lot of drug addicts and stuff like that. I drink wine once in a blue moon, but it's not my choice. When I was younger, maybe it was a little crazy, but I just look at it as that dysfunction is their dysfunction. Whatever they're going through over there, that's their problem. It has nothing to do with me. There's nothing that I can possibly do for my family that live in New Jersey from here where I live. There's nothing. There's nothing that I can do for anybody that I care about from this point of where I'm at in Florida. So at the end of the day, I can only look and listen, look to FaceTime and listen to the conversation and try to give them the best help that I can psychologically. But if down the line they're going to burn you like they do me all the time, then you know what? The dysfunction continues, and what you do is you become so upset and so sad inside, because I don't become angry, I just become sad, that you just don't want to help at all. You want to just run away farther because you can't run far enough away from them. And I think that a lot of us sometimes we make mistakes because of the dysfunction that we have. You know, if a young woman doesn't have her mother there when it's the most crucial times in her life, then the child cannot be expected to be a good mother if they don't know what it is to be a good mother. Just like a father, if a father is not there with their child or their daughter to show them the self-worth of a woman, because it's not the mothers, it's the fathers who nurture them and show them the self-worth, their self-worth, and what to choose. If women, that's why women look up to the, they look up to their daddies. I just believe that when a child does not have her father there, uh, a young woman grows up kind of messed up, and you don't really know what signs to look for, because all the signs look the same. You meet the person, they treat you kind, and you think they're gonna take care of you, and at the end of the day, they don't take care of you. All they do is just bash you. But that is their behavior, because that's the behavior they learn. Okay? Or you find these guys who are never satisfied with having one woman. They have to go out and cheat and lie, because it's easier to say I'm sorry than it is to ask for permission. So what are they doing? They're just emanating, or they're copying the same things that their fathers have done, or what they've seen happen in the house. If a woman sees her mother cheating on her father, or sees her mother going out and fighting with her father, whatever, that's going to be the norm for her. If you see your mother, you know, your mother's constantly beating you, you're going to do one or two things. Either you're going to rebel and slap the shit out of her, or you're going to close yourself in and you're going to raise your children, and you're going to be doing that to your children. Okay? Now, there are great parents out there. I must say, like Kathy and Cecily and um, Sadia, and just a few people that, a lot of people that I know have been very good mothers, you know, and have done the best that they can. And although we are responsible for our children, sometimes we're not responsible for their actions. Sometimes we're not responsible for who they are, because they choose who they want to be depending on who's the one filling their heads up. So back to what you were saying, Sadia, don't ever, ever, ever think that you did anything wrong, because you've never done anything wrong. You've always been kind and gentle, and you know whatever has happened happened. And that if you don't learn by these lessons, you will never learn. You will always be unhappy because you've never learned. The first key of loving yourself is believing in yourself, believing in your higher power, believing that you are wonderful, and that you are beautiful, and that you are kind, and that you are amazing, and that you are a good parent, and you are a good friend, and you are a good mother. And as long as you have all of those good qualities, you know that you have nothing to apologize for, because what has happened is between you and God, nobody else. Now, I've seen a lot of dysfunctional men in this world. I'm not going to put myself in this category, because this is really not about me. This is about other people. But I've seen men go through life being bitter and being angry at women, And I would say like a big percentage of those men have been abused sexually. I know the signs. I've seen it. And I know that it's easier for them to run around on other women, to blame women for their shortcomings, rather than to take responsibility for themselves and go get therapy, go get help to what is going on or what had happened in their lives. Because sometimes they assume that it's easier to push it on other people than to push it on themselves. You know, so sometimes it's better to get to know the book. It's always, ladies, I can't stress this enough. Do not give yourself up to a man until you read the book. Every man has a book. Every man comes with the book and instructions. And if you don't read it right, and what I mean by reading it is learn to observe the person, learn to ask questions, learn to ask the right questions. Uh, don't always talk about your business. I can't stress that enough. Women, do not talk about your past. Do not talk about how many men you've been with. Do not talk about shit like that, because even though men say, "Oh, it's okay, I can accept it," no, they can't. Down the line, they're gonna throw it in your face and they're gonna pour you all kinds of whores. So learn to keep your personal life to yourself, and ask a lot of questions, because that's the only way that you're gonna know. And you start to ask questions and learn how the person reacts when they lie. You can always tell in their eyes how people react. So just keep watching them. Watch the way their mouth is. Watch the way their hand movements are. Watch the way their eyes are. And whenever you're asking them questions, always acknowledge them. Truly acknowledge them. Look at them really well. You should be able to tell when a man is lying or when he's not lying. You know, I find that to be funny because, you know, I can be, and I have dated many, 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 many men who have lied to me, who have thought they'd lied to me, but in reality, I knew that they were lying from day one. But because I was too busy worrying about the physical part rather than the emotional part, it didn't really bother me. Now, if you really know me as a person, the two rules I have in life is don't lie to me and don't steal from me. To two pet peeves that I have in life: don't steal from me, don't lie to me. Because at the end of the day, if you're lying to me, you're lying to yourself. Because I mean, this is what I do for a living. I'm a reader. Why would I not know who is who? I know the liar before the liar reaches me. I know the liar just by watching him walk, by watching him dress, by the way he dresses, by the way he walks, by the way he handles himself, and by the way he answers questions. Okay. And overall, when they think that they're reading me and they think that they know me and they can play these games, they don't realize that the moment they're playing these games with me, my mind, my spirit is already adapting to the lies, and it's changing the trajectory on them. So that game which they think they're playing on me, I've already started to play it on them. So I'm the one that ends shit because I walk away from things, and then they're the ones that end up hurt, not me. Because at the end of the day, all the I love yous in the world will not change your dysfunction. All the all the all the lies won't change the dysfunction. It's just going to make the dysfunction even more powerful, because you're stuck. You're stuck on the lies, because part of the dysfunction of growing up and being called stupid and being called ignorant and being called all kinds of names, it's basically because they're looking at a younger version of you. Okay. And women, I need you to really understand this. Okay. I want you to understand this wholeheartedly. Okay. When you grow up in an atmosphere, when you grow up in a female dominant society, okay, and you're female, and you have a mother who constantly is criticizing and judging you, or you have a grandmother that's doing the same, or you have families that are women and they look down on you. You have to understand one thing. You came from them, and you are a better version of them. You're a more prettier version. You are a more luckier version. You are a more responsible version. You're a stronger version of them. So therefore, that's all around envy and jealousy. You know, grandmothers do it to their daughters. Some of their daughters, not all. There's always one sacrificial lamb. Whether it's the girl, it's never the boy. It's always the girl. So mothers do it to the girls, and then generational, it keeps going. So that dysfunction is horrible. Or you have sisters, or you have siblings, and your siblings were raised by your moms, and you were raised by your grandmother. So therefore, your aunts hate you, and you hate yourself because you don't understand why your mother gave you up. You feel as if you were abandoned. So you're constantly looking for somebody to correct that abandonment, which in reality, there is no cure for it except mental health, which is loving yourself, honoring yourself, being true to yourself, being happy with yourself, and understanding that only you are responsible for your happiness. You can't say to me today, well, I'm all effed up because, you know, this, that, and the third. No, there are many therapists out there. And if you feel like you need it, then you should go get one. If you are miserable all the time, obviously there's a problem. And if there's a dysfunction and you believe, oh, therapy is wonderful, but yet you're not going to therapy, then you know what? Then you need to go back to therapy because you need to understand that you have not completed the cycle. You're not strong enough to walk on your own because you're still putting yourself down. Okay. And what is truly happiness? Happiness is a waste of human emotion. Happiness, there is no such thing as happiness, guys. There are only happy moments. Happy moments can last a year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Those are happy moments. In the eyes of God, those are moments. To us, there can be a lifetime, but they're only moments. Because even in the 30 years that you're with someone, you cannot tell me that those whole 30 years you're going to be happy. You know, how you're going to be 100% happy in those 30 years. No, there's always going to be a dysfunction. There's always going to be something wrong. There's always something going to come up. Okay, so, you know, how do you define happiness? Define happiness when you're happy, when you are 100% content with you, when you smile about you, when you can look in the mirror and say, do you know what? Damn, I look good. And when you can say, damn, you know what? I'm that bitch that everybody envies. And you walk down the street knowing that you're that person, but walking down the street feeling happy and empowered, knowing that you are a powerful human being. Okay? Because love comes from you first. Okay? That is part of happiness. If you are happy with you, if you are happy with the decisions you made, and I don't give a shit what people think. If a woman has been with 50 men because she never found happiness and she wants to try 51, then honey, by all means, I got your back. Do 51 because 51 may be the perfect number for you. You never know. So don't beat yourself up because you've been with too many men or men been with too many women. What I tell women, I'm going to tell men too. Men, you need to check yourself as well. Okay, because if you had a father who did not step in, why would you be that yourself? You know, why would you be that yourself? You need to step in when you have when you have children. You need to step in. You need to step in, and you need to step up to the plate and understand that that woman did not create that child by themselves. You had a lot to do with that. Okay. Well, I'm going to do a little meditation a little bit, and I was writing certain down that like I did last week, so that I can help you to deprogram whatever dysfunction you feel that you have, that you may have worked through everything, but there might be that one little thing that is still there. So I'm gonna do a little bit of meditation because of that, because it's very important. Now, like I said, people, even men, listen, men have a lot of inadequacies. They really do. The normal man who's average, you know, average. The average Joe or the average person who has an average penis as a man is always going to be looking to have a bigger penis, or trying to figure out how can I get mine to be bigger, because that's the biggest thing. You hit a man, you hit him where it hurts the most. Even if he has a big song, you tell him it's a little thing that you have bigger, and that right there will fuck up their whole thing. Excuse my language. It will mess up their whole idea. So men, you need to start loving yourselves as well. You need to start looking at yourself in the mirror, and you need to start accepting that you are not your environment. You are not the person who grew up in this environment. You grew up in a different environment. So therefore, I should be better than this and be happy with whatever it is that you have, whatever flaws you have in your body. You know, I've seen men who weigh 300 pounds and women who are 105 pounds, and they're dating a 300, 400-pound man. And that is one thing that I admire. I admire that a woman is confident enough to to date a man who's very overweight because she finds him attractive, and a man like that finds a woman to be grateful. They are grateful because the woman loves them for themselves. It's not, they're not looking for a part of them or a part that they feel that they're lacking in. The woman is literally hanging on to the man because she really cares for the man. And that to me is very impressive, okay? But men, you need to also step up to the plate. You really need to start thinking about the dysfunctions that you went through as children and start making sense of what is right and what is wrong. You know, nobody that you're with should be responsible for your dysfunction. Your dysfunction is your dysfunction. The things you're going through is your things. It's nobody else's thing. The problems, the ideas, the headaches, the sadness, where we turn to alcohol and drugs and whatever, even act a fool and end up in jail and become institutionalized for something stupid, because we believe that, you know, we're the big man, and you know our balls are big enough. So you know what, I'm this man. You know what, you're just a boy in a man's body who's afraid to admit the fact that there has been things happening to them. Ladies, there are a lot of men out there that are gay. Don't think that you can change them. If you hear conversations of women telling you your boyfriend is gay, your boyfriend is gay, your boyfriend is gay, your boyfriend is gay, and you're asking him, he's not telling you the truth, follow your instincts, ladies. Follow your instinct. There are a lot of men who like penises, and that is why there's so many men now that actually date trans, because the transsexual woman who is beautiful, and a lot of them are very beautiful. A lot of them are they have faces like a brick, but there's a lot of them that are very beautiful, and they have wonderful, beautiful bodies. A man that can pass as a woman. Men enjoy that, but the men who are enjoying trans are enjoying not the female aspect of the woman. They're enjoying the penis of the woman, because a chick with a penis is the ultimate taboo. It's the ultimate taboo in life. So, you know, it's just like if a woman had a penis, but they don't. So they use a strap on. This is all dealing with dysfunction, guys, you know, but you cannot run away from the truth and the reality. You know, you cannot change someone from being one way to being another way. But I can tell you that a big portion of male prostitutes and female prostitutes, it's all about money. And unfortunately, in this society that we live in, it is all about money. So people want to get to the top, and they don't care what they do. You know, some people like Cardi B. Cardi B was a pole dancer. I don't judge that. She was doing what she was doing to survive and to help her parents. She enjoyed it, but you know what? She made it very clear. I didn't get high. I didn't do all these crazy things. Now, She made it to what she wanted to be. So now, Crystal, working on the inner child, yourself incredible important. Accept people for who they are and never change who you are for no one. I agree with that, Crystal. I agree with that 100%. But on the spiritual aspect of these things, when you read someone or when you're doing something or you tell someone, we usually tell the person to get a picture of themselves when they were little, at the age that they think that all the problems began, and put it in a frame and light a candle, and every day you light a tea light and you raise the picture a little higher until eventually on the ninth day your picture is above your head. And then, but the prayer that we ask you to write is usually about you. So you're not writing a prayer for baby Jesus or baby Krishna. You're writing a prayer for the baby that was you. And so it is important. It is important to work on the child in you as well. So, but the dysfunction, I'm trying to make a point when it comes to dysfunctions of what women don't see with men. They may see it, but they don't want to accept the idea that their man may be with certain things. This is why it is important for women, and I tell women this all the time: use condoms. I don't care if you knew the dude a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Use condoms. You know what you did, but you don't know what he was doing. And I don't care how much you think that he loves me, because he can love you and tomorrow he'll be loving someone else. And that's the reality. So before you start checking yourself, you need to check them and then check yourself. But when it comes to doubting, never doubt yourself. Never doubt your beauty. Never doubt your intelligence. Never doubt your womanhood. Never doubt how precious you really are. Never doubt your motherhood. Never doubt those things. Okay, be women. Women are phenomenal. Okay, look, to me, if you ask me and you want to know if God had a gender, I would say God is a woman, because no man can create life. The only person that can create and that can bear is women. But then again, I don't think God is anything. I don't think God has a gender, whether it's a female or a male gender. I think God is just energy, and he is power, and he's powerful, and he is what pushes us. Okay. And it is easy, yes, it is easy, Crystal, to say not to judge, but everybody judges. I can see a 300-pound person, and believe it or not, although I'm not there, I go to the gym and I work out, and I look at myself as being a big, big, big person, and that's my own psyche. It's stuff that I have to work out for myself. Now I can work out every problem for everybody else. I just can't work on my own. Excuse me, and I don't think anybody really can. Now, another thing that when we say don't judge, that's a great thing. The book says the great book says don't judge, but so does the Quran, and so does the Torah, and I read the Quran. So these books say that. Gigi, gracias. Let me know. Let me get some coffee. Gigi, come on over. I'll make you some coffee. Um, so at the end of the day, if you have had a dysfunction or been pushed aside or been used as a sacrificial lamb by your parents, by your moms, dude, it doesn't matter if you're a female or a male. Take responsibility for your own shit now. Let go of all of that animosity and sadness and bitterness you're carrying. Let it go. Let it go, because it's not going to heal you. It's just going to make things worse. Okay? If you have enemies that wish you harm, let them go. Let go and let God, because you know what? God may be busy right now taking care of people and helping people with this war and stuff, but at the end of the day, we need to help ourselves first. The good book says help yourself, right? God says help yourself. I'll help you if you help yourself. Yeah. So we're not talking about help yourself to chocolates. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about help yourself to ice cream and read a good book and cry. No, that's not helping yourself. um, we're talking about helping yourself, empower yourself to push yourself so that you know how important you really, really are. Because people don't have power on us. People only have power if we allow them to have power. And the only reason that people have this power is because we are so busy trying to convince ourselves that we don't care that you're in the middle of your own drama and your own tragedy. Remember that. If you don't care about something, then you don't need to repeat, I don't care. Then Sally, how long should you wait for a broken relationship with your children or not wait at all? Well, I'm going to give you some advice, Lance. Okay. I think that a parent can only do but what they can do. If you weren't there for them, I think they may have the right, or they should have the right, to know why you weren't there. And whether you say to me, yes, I've already told them, no. Sometimes the most personal thing is a letter. I find that I write my emotions, when I write them on paper, I can express everything that I've been holding on. And I'll cry by myself, and I ask God to forgive me. But whenever you write something and you apologize, because I believe that it's better to write than it is to speak. And then if they want to meet with you later on, then it's fine, because that's something that you should request in the letter. If you would like to talk to me so we can acknowledge it face to face, what really happened, I can do that without bashing the parents, without bashing yourself, without bashing society, without bashing your childhood, because no matter how dysfunctional our childhood may be, we are just a product of that, but we don't have to be that. We don't have to be our parents. We don't have to be like them. We don't have to live like them. Okay? I believe that your story is different. And from a man's point of view, I would have loved to have known who my father really was, instead of being lied to for all these years, and being a bastard child and just lied to. I would rather have known him, like really have known him. In your case, you know them. So I think that the best way that I handle things is writing them a letter. Letters are very important. People don't write letters anymore. People write texts. I prefer receiving a letter on paper, letting me know all the things you've been through. I think that is very important. That's, and I always end letters like that with, this letter, I set my heart free. Love. I would end it, love, Dad. That's it. Because I think that although you in your belief, you feel that your children or child or whatever is suffering, I think cool. I think that you, Lance, I think that deep down inside you're hurting. And even though you've been through a lot and you've been through a lot of pain and maybe walked away from this like saying, I don't care, I think that in your heart you do care. Yeah, thank you. I just feel that. I feel your sadness. And dude, it's never too late to apologize. It's never too late to set yourself free. Because if you think your child is a victim, you're a bigger victim. You haven't set yourself free. So you need to set yourself free, because you don't know what the future holds for you. You don't know, maybe down the line, you guys may decide to adopt. You never know. Or or maybe down the line, a child may end up on your lap, a teenager, somebody, or your child's child or whatever. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Be afraid? No, there's no reason to be. I just think that a lot of the problems that cause addictions are the fact that as men, we are taught not to cry, not to make a big deal out of these little things, that sometimes women are irrelevant. And some people see it in their fathers. There are some boys that see their father cheat on their mothers and they follow the same pattern. You know, I don't like weak women. I've never liked weak women. I always believe that a woman is strong enough as she chooses to be. Thank you. I think a woman is phenomenal. There's nothing more phenomenal in the world than a woman. A woman can bear children. A man can never tolerate that pain. A woman can work. Okay, catch this. A woman can go to work early in the morning. A woman can get up, make her bed, make sure everything is in order, get her children's breakfast ready, take a shower, make sure her man's in order, see her children off to school, take care of her man's stuff, go pick up the laundry, whatever, go work, come home to then organize again and cook and take care of her children and her man. But yet a man can't do all that without complaining. Okay? A man cannot do all of that. Okay, I know this bitch right here. I get up in the morning. I don't get up in the morning. I fall asleep on that couch sometimes watching TV, 2 o'clock in the morning. I straighten out my house, make sure my house is in order. And then I go to sleep. I wake up at whatever time I want. My house is in order. That's the way I roll. But I have taken care of households. I have taken care of people's children and the whole household, and I'm fine. I can multitask with no problem. But men, you have to realize that when you have a queen, it doesn't matter if she's black or white or Chinese or purple or yellow, green. It doesn't matter if she's a unicorn. When you have a queen, treat her like a queen. When you have children, you treat your children like they were kings and princesses, but you don't overdo it. You just let them know when they're wrong, and communication is the key, guys. Communication. The dysfunction that we go through with parents, no matter how much, I have to emphasize this, no matter how much of the dysfunction we go through, we have to really look at where the source is coming from. If it's our mother, look at the source. If it's the father, look at the source. Look at the way they were brought up. Look at the way they were born. Look at who raised them. There's some mothers that raise children that are, to me, they're like jackals. I swear to God, they're like hyenas. They leave the children behind, and they're out there tramping and prancing around, and then they lose their minds. And they're like, why am I so messed up? Well, there are their reactions to your actions. What you did is coming back to you because it's karma. Everything we do is karma, and that is why it's so important for us to check ourselves. Every single time we have a thought, if we see somebody's walking down the street and she got one, if she has one cheek hanging out of her shorts, and you're going to sit there and laugh and you're not going to do anything to let her know, then you know what? Check yourself. Because what makes you so goddamn important? Nothing. Nothing. You will wish somebody would tell you that your cheek was hanging out, or that your breast was hanging out, or that something wasn't right. You will wish somebody would do that to you. So when they don't, and all you see is people laughing at other people, that just shows the ignorance that they have within themselves. That just proves that they have no home training, that their mother or father wasn't there to treat them or to train them to respect humanity. I always say I don't believe in people, but I do believe in humanity. I believe that humanity as a whole, the circle, as a whole together, we can create everything perfect. We can create and we can reestablish this ozone layer and all these problems in the world. But you know what? As one person, if we depend on the reasoning of a human being, we're always going to be disappointed because humans will always disappoint you. No matter how much you think they got your back. Communication. Yeah, you're right, Gigi. I know that for a fact that you guys can talk about everything. And even you and your husband, your husband and your husband and your children, and that's amazing. I think that's a fabulous thing, and I really admire that about you guys. And I admire your children, hugs and kisses, by the way. So anyway, so I'm trying to explain this to you girls. This is this is something that I want you. I was writing this, so of course I'm talking, so it's not gonna be no meditation, obviously, but these are the things that you need to look at. You need to look in the mirror in the morning when you're brushing your teeth, or at night when you're putting on your facial cream, or you're brushing your teeth. Look at yourself in the mirror. Take a good look and tell yourself, "I am love. I am love," because you're a child of God. No matter how you put it, you're a child of God. So you're going to emanate love because God is love. People are trying to tell you all this stuff, and the churches try to confuse you by, God is a wrathful God. Well, yeah, I can tell you that God did some crazy shit in his past, but you know what? Who hasn't? We have too. So God is love. So what is it? I am love. Okay? I am love. I am an incredible human being. Yeah. Put yourself up to the highest because God made you in his image, and God's image is perfect. So why can't you be incredible? Think about that. So the next one is I'm perfect. I am perfect. I am exactly how my Father created me to be. Okay. Resonate on that for a minute. Okay. I am a happy person. Now, in Buddhism, we're taught to remove the I because that's the ego. But in this aspect of loving thyself, you have to always use the I because you're referring to yourself when you look in the mirror. Okay? I am a happy person because I choose to be happy all the time. Keep that in your mind. I am a happy person because I choose to be happy all the time. I have worked out all my past dysfunctions. Okay? I have worked out all my past dysfunction. Yeah. So you walked in the process of working to remove all the dysfunctions that you felt that were dysfunctions. And how do you remove the dysfunctions? To admit that there's a problem. And only when you admit that there's a problem and you can accept that there's a problem and that you need help, then and only then that begins to heal. You begin to heal. You don't always have to go to a psychiatrist. You don't always have to go to a therapist. You can pick up a book on how to heal self. And that way, or look at life and decide by looking at the trees, you know what? This tree is very beautiful. I live in an amazing place. I have everything that I ever wanted. I am a very lucky person. All of that is happiness. Okay? Never work on I am a drunk or I am an alcoholic or I am a drug addict or I am you're none of those things. You are a human being that got stuck in a little dysfunction. Little dysfunction. Okay? And that should change your perception of yourself. Okay? So loving thyself has to always come first. There's this saying where, mothers always say, well, I gotta love my children and my husband first. No. First you love God, then you love yourself, then you love your spouse, because it's exactly how it's written in scriptures. You respect and you love God, yourself, your spouse, and your children. You have no spouse, then you love your children first. Why? Your children will grow and they would disappear. In the Quran, there is a part of the Quran where the Quran, uh, what is it? What is it? Muhammad believed, right, that the women are orphans. Women are the orphans of the world because when a woman leaves her household, she's married, and when she leaves her parents' house, she goes to her husband's house. So she becomes the everything for the husband and for the children. And who is there for her? She can't go back home and have someone there for her because the culture doesn't allow it. She can't go to therapy because the culture doesn't allow it. And she cannot take on her husband will never take on her burdens because the husband expects her to be there taking care of the children. Okay. But then again, I want to bring something out there. Some of the best, well, let's say most of them, the best football players have always been raised by women. And the mothers are there even to the day they grow old. The mother's always there. So you women, again, I toot my horn to you. But just remember, loving yourself is important. Teaching your children about self-love. It's not arrogance. It's not ignorance. It's common sense. Love yourself all the time. Remind yourself of who you are. Don't lose yourself. Because if you lose your identity, you will never find your identity. You have an identity, your husband has his identity. You don't walk in front of your husband, you don't walk in back of your husband, you walk side by side. Same with men. You don't walk in front of your wife, you don't walk behind your wife, you walk on the side. That is the respect level that shows that you respect the person you're with because she does everything for you. And that's what we have to acknowledge, okay? Forget about the dysfunction. Dysfunction means nothing, okay? I am a I'm healthy, wealthy, and wise. Okay? After I am loved, I am an incredible person, everything that I just said. I work through my dysfunction. Remember that. I am healthy, wealthy, and wise. And you have to always envision what it is that you're looking for and what it is that you want. Because God is not limit. God is limitless. Everything that God provides is limitless. And if you have money problems and you worry about them and you constantly vocalize them, you're always going to have problems. Do not make money issue a problem because every time you make it a problem, you will have a problem. Even if you ain't got a dime, God knows when to do the things that he does. Don't let people's interference make you feel like you owe them or make you feel like if you are doing something wrong or something against them. No. Okay, as long as you don't bear false witness against someone, don't worry about it. Keep yourself going. Worry about you. Worry about you. Worry about you. And worry about you. And then worry about everything else that comes behind it. But you always have to come first. You always have to come second. And you always have to come third. Once you apply that law, it's not being selfish, it's not being arrogant, it's not being whatever. People believe that some people are very selfish. Yes, there are a lot of people in the world that are very selfish and very self-absorbed. But those people will always end up alone and will end up sad. Why? Because they will never, ever, ever understand in their little minds all the damage that they have caused. And they never, ever, ever in their little minds believed that they were going to age. They thought they were going to stay young forever. So whenever someone is of little mind thought and they don't know how to check themselves because they're always saying, I'm checking myself, I'm working on myself, but I just don't know how to keep my mouth shut. Well, then right there and then they're letting you know, don't trust in me because there is no trust, okay? Anyway, guys, listen, I hope I've been helpful. I love you guys a lot. I want to thank you for being on my show today. Love and light to all of you. Peace and blessings. It's always great to talk to you guys. It is time for me to get off. And we're going to commercial and then I'm off. Enjoy the week and the weekend.